What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Earn It, Save, and Invest It. This is week 37 of my $100,000 challenge. So I'm going to go over what's been happening in my portfolio, what's been going on in the stock market, and I'm also going to go over the HIMS and NOVO lawsuit a little bit. As you've heard, HIMS is being sued by NOVO, so I'm going to go over that really quick. If you can, give me a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, but let's get right into it. So topics of discussion today will be my $100,000 stock market challenge, just the general stock market performance, and the HIMS and NOVO lawsuit, right? Starting off with the $100,000 challenge, right now I'm at $7,523. If you know where I should be at right now, if you've been watching this, that's not good, right? But HIMS has been just destroying my portfolio. And I kind of predicted that. When I started this challenge, I said, look, HIMS is a volatile stock. It has a lot of chance to go down. I bought it at, in the low 20s, so I was not thinking of selling. I believed in the company, but I just knew that over time, over the short term, HIMS might bring down my portfolio. So it has. So I have TQQQ, Meta, Celsius, HIMS, Amazon, Nike, Adobe, Fubo, The Trade Desk, Kasai, and Oddity. They've all kind of gone down. They all have gone down this last week. The biggest one, HIMS, down 30%, Fubo down 15%. So those have really nailed me this last week. This is week 37. As you can see, I should be at around $10,344, and I'm at $7,523. Not good. Down 5% for the week. I'm down 27% compared to the goal that I want. Since June 2nd, which is when I started the goal, 2.31% up, which is obviously not good, but HIMS has gone down so much. I've continued to put money into my account. If I never put that money into the account, I'd actually be down 25%. So today I actually added an extra $200 because I'm seeing a lot of weakness in the software companies. I actually added some HIMS. I added 5 shares. I added Adobe, The Trade Desk, and Oddity. So I added a few shares, and I did say this in the stock market challenge that if I do see opportunities and I do see some real heavy crashes, then I will deploy a little bit more cash sometimes. As you can see, Adobe, I'm down 16%, The Trade Desk down 22%. So I figured, well, if I believe that, and these things are down heavy, right? HIMS is down heavy, but HIMS is also up, so it's a different type of reason. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Sorry, I need some water. This is the AAII Sentiment. As you can see, we're almost dead even. 38.5 for the Bulls, 38.1 for the Bears. So they're kind of, in this tug of war. We're just stuck, right? No one's winning right now. Historical average, we're just about there for the Bulls, and the Bears is actually a lot heavier right now, right? Like I said, this last week there's been a lot of bearishness in the market. We were also fearful, right? So that's something to think about, that when the Fear and Greed Index and the AAII Sentiment are working together, that is interesting, because there's a lot of times where it's actually opposite, where the market might be feeling greedy, but the investor sentiments are actually feeling a little bit more fearful. So when you see the stock market being more fearful, and then you see this bear number go way up, it can make you think, okay, the market might actually be going down. Forgot to show the question, how many quarter point interest rate cuts do you think the Fed Reserve will make this year? Most people think 2 or 3 at 53%. So like I said, we're at a fear. 1 week ago we're in fear, 1 month ago we're in greed, 1 year ago neutral. So again, the stock market is absolutely emotional. For this last week, one of the big reasons is AI spending fears. They drove Amazon stock into a bear market alongside Microsoft's. After 8 consecutive days of losses, shares of Amazon have officially tumbled into a technical bear market, meaning that they're 20% off their recent high. Among the 4 hyperscalers, Amazon has the highest amount of planned CapEx for 2026 at $200 billion. Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and Google are expected to spend a total of $650 billion on AI CapEx in 2026. So a lot of people are freaking out, like, hey, where are we going to get this return on investment? You know, what's going on? Like, you know, and as you can see here, oops, dang it, I deleted it. Let's do this really quick. Let's go SPY and see. All right, so if we look at the last 6 months, the Dow has gone up 10%. S&P only about 6%, and the Qs with NASDAQ only about 3%. There's been a rotation ever since the beginning, December 10th, December 11th. The Dow has actually pushed up a lot more, whereas in the other indexes they've actually been pushed down a little bit. Since this mark, since that point, since that date of separation, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are both down, while the Dow is actually up. So there's a little bit of rotation going on of people saying, I don't know about this spending, right? We're starting to get more and more earnings. But if you look back just a year ago, you know, NASDAQ and S&P 500 were above the Dow, not by much. You might not be able to see it right here, but it's 13% for the NASDAQ, 13.5% for the NASDAQ, almost 12% for the S&P 500, and almost 11% for the Dow. So obviously not as big of a difference, right? They're kind of working a little bit closer together at the time, but in the last 6 months, there is a clear separation. It's not even in the last 6 months. I mean, we can go back, in the last 1 month? No, let's go 3 months actually. Yeah, 3 months, right? I like this 6 month. That 6 months looks way better. I mean, this is just such a big separation, right? It kind of started right here a little bit in August, but then they kind of met back right here. But man, December, boom, the Dow just took off. So that's just kind of the stock market in general, what's going on. I do believe there's a little bit of rotation happening, and you can see where we are in the stock market. This is going to be the NASDAQ. And let me see here. All right. We are officially 144 days of no gains. You can go back 144 days ago, and we're at the same price for the NASDAQ as we are today. So that's not really good. When it comes to the recent high, I mean, we kind of hit this high recently. We hit this low in November, but we go back 144 days and we're at 0. In the last 234 days, we're still up 11.5%. So, and we have yet to have an actual 10% drawdown. The stock market is just not moving. I do believe that it's funneling itself into this spot, and I was saying it's going to happen in the end of February, maybe beginning of March, but like really here at the end of February, where the market has to choose where it's going to go. It has to really pick where it wants to go. Because I mean, we can even say like this is kind of, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it's choosing to go under. I don't know. I mean, of course, anyone can draw these lines and all that, but it's just seemingly we're nowhere. We're going nowhere, and we're funneling somewhere. The market has to make a choice, right? The market's not going to stay flat. I mean, granted, the market can go up and down, up and down. That's what's going to happen, but usually it doesn't do this for that long, right? It doesn't stay this flat for this long. In terms of like just going up a little percent and then dropping down, like going up 2% and then ending up dropping down 5%, and then going up another 3, 4, 5%, and then dropping down 5%, 4%, right? And just staying over a course going up and down a plus and negative 2 or 3%, right? So that's just the market right now. If you haven't checked out my latest video for the HIMS investors, I really break down the lawsuit I break it down, all the screenshots. I went through the whole lawsuit, so I really break it down very well. In this video, I'm going to kind of go over it really quickly. I just asked Google, the AI, said, hey, what are the chances of HIMS and NOVO lawsuits settling in HIMS' favor? I'm doing this because I wanted to see, a lot of people are thinking it's going to be not good for HIMS, right? As you can see, the stock price. And it says, legal experts and market analysts suggest the settlement purely in HIMS and HER's favor is unlikely, as the lawsuit represents a major battle for NOVO's to protect its core patents. Now, it says purely in HIMS and HER's favor, right? So I think when it comes to that, they're going to have a problem with their advertising. They said the same active ingredient as Wegovy. They did not like that. That was considered illegal. That's probably going to get something. If they were continuing to sell the commercial version of, I just call it the semaglutide, so I just call it the glutide. If they were selling that after the shortage, after they announced, hey, no one can be selling it, then that's going to be something. But obviously the real thing is going to be the glutide, right? The actual, what they're doing, the compounding of it. So it says right here, aggressive stance from Novo. They're seeking a permanent ban on HIMS's compounded semaglutide products and substantial financial damages. Analysts believe Novo is unlikely to settle without HIMS agreeing to exit the compounded semaglutide market entirely. Now that will be very interesting because to me, I don't think they're doing anything illegal. I'll go over why I think that. It says legal challenges for HIMS. HIMS intends to argue that the patents are invalid. Now that I don't think they're going to say it's invalid. No, what I think they're going to do is saying what they are doing is valid. So that said, however, the U.S. patent previously rejected a similar challenge to the same patent generic manufacturers in 2023, which may weaken HIMS' position. I don't think they're going to do that, though. That's not what they're doing, because it's about the compounding of it. Regulatory pressure. FDA has already begun restricting these ingredients, GLP-1 ingredients, right? Potential settlement scenario. Some of the observers suggest HIMS' best case scenario might be to drag out litigation 1 to 2 years to negotiate better terms or transition period before the hammer comes down, eventually leading to a settlement. Oh, hello. So I'm going to go over why I think HIMS is actually not going to have that bad of a time with this whole lawsuit. As you can see, Novo Nordisk is filing the complaint against HIMS and HER's over patent infringement. And they say that they were in concert with one another to directly infringe, knowing and intentionally, by using, selling, and offering these compounded products. And then it says HIMS, as a result of the deliberate and willful infringement, Novo Nordisk is entitled to enhanced damages, right? It has caused and will continue to cause irreparable harm to Novo Nordisk unless and until such infringement is enjoined. So they want them to just stop, right? Remedies at law are inadequate to compensate for the injury at Novo, warranting an injunction. They want them to stop selling it, right? The realistic expectations to how long these things take. A patent infringement lawsuits in the U.S. court take many months to several years to resolve. Because of all these issues. Cases like this often stretch 1 to 3 years before final resolution unless the parties quickly settle. The most practical outcome for most of these, they settle. Novo may prefer that HIMS exit the category, pays the settlement, agrees to restrictions. Of course, Novo, that's what they want. Who is on the HIMS board makes me very confident. I think they understand what they're doing is legal. I would say it's very possible that Andrew Dudum is out as the CEO eventually. The attention he's brought, at the same time, he's also brought a lot of good attention to HIMS. Sometimes they say, no publicity is bad publicity. So it's also possible that if they go against Novo and they win in terms of they can still sell the compounded version, then and that would be huge for the business, for the brand, right? That they went up against a big dog and they were able to prove that what they're doing is legal. And I'm going to again show you why I think they are doing is legal. So the most common real world endpoint is 25 to 150 million settlement and a product shutdown. That's big. If Novo wins outright, they could realistically walk away with tens of millions, hundreds of millions, plus an injunction that protects billions. We'll see about that, right? Now, what's the practical value of HIMS winning? If HIMS wins cleanly, they gain no damages owed, right? It's not like they win money. They actually have to pay for all the lawyers and all that stuff, but they just don't have to pay these crazy fees. No injunction, they can keep selling. Category legitimacy, what they are doing now is real. It's good. They're good, right? And then, of course, the stock market upside. If they win, of course, the stock will go up. So the win could be worth hundreds of millions or even billions, of course. The most realistic victory outcome in cases like this, the best case scenario for HIMS is the ability to continue offering weight loss treatments in some compliant form. Okay, so the FDA exempts compounded drugs from FDA approval, CGMP, and labeling requirements if produced by licensed pharmacists and physicians for identified patient based on valid individual prescriptions. That's huge. I mean, look, right here, the 503, this is what they're being sued for. This right here, yes, it's the patent, right? It's their patent, but you have to understand that the law allows this to happen. They say, look, yes, you have a patent on this very generic, on this type, but if there's patients and people who need a customized version, a personalized version, then other companies are allowed to make that for them. So, that's what HIMS is doing. And it says, the conditions based on a valid prescription for a specific patient. Limited quantities may be prepared in anticipation for prescriptions. They cannot be regularly compound copies of commercially available drugs. So again, when they were selling outside of the shortage, that was illegal. When they announced the pill, that was illegal. But did they even sell it? Would Novo had even put this lawsuit together if they didn't announce the pill? Let's just think about that. Would they have done it? I don't know. So that's very interesting. I'm just going to go over this really quick. Again, 503, compounding pharmacies, patient-specific medications based on a prescription, not required to register with the FDA. And 503B, compounding, are for bulk compounding for hospitals and clinics. So this is when you're doing the big batches, right? And it's just for generic use. Now you have to also understand that HIMS is not just weight loss. They do other things. They do a lot of other different departments. So they're not just buying all these companies or buying these facilities and just for weight loss, right? So yes, with weight loss, even if they were to lose the weight loss, they're still going to be able to grow not at as fast of a rate and all this stuff. Now, the stock would be destroyed if they were to not be able to do the weight loss, right? Because the whole revenue, everything would change. But I don't think they're going to have to stop because it seems like they're following the law. Like, you're following the law. Right? I mean, it says right here, 503A pharmacies handle patient-specific prescriptions, traditional pharmacies, and are state regulated. I don't know. That's the last one. So, that was, please like and subscribe. That's my week 37, $100,000 challenge. Yeah, I do think HIMS is going to come off of this not scot-free. I do think they're going to have to pay for announcing the pill. I don't know if they even actually sold any, if anybody out there even took any. And for them selling, I don't know exactly if or how long they were selling the generic GLP-1 outside of the shortage when the FDA said, okay, you have to stop. That I'm not sure. But the compounded versions, if you go online and you sign up, it says prescription required. You have to go through it. You're going to fill out how much you need. And you can also adjust how much you are feeling. So it is very personalized, right? It's very personalized. Actually, let me bring this up really quick. It says right here, 503A is for customized individual needs, whereas in 503B, hospitals and clinics. Customize and individual needs. That is what HIMS is doing. They're saying, hey, you need a specific amount of this to make sure that you feel good, right? You don't want to have too much. It's not a one-size-fits. Yeah, I truly believe, and I think it's just a fact, that in medication and all this stuff, it is not a one-size-fits-all in any way, shape, or form. If I eat a strawberry, it could definitely react differently if you eat a strawberry, right? Your body's going to break it down differently and this and that. So it's just, of course, medications are going to react differently for people. So I think personalization should definitely be a normal thing that we try to do. The whole one-size-fits-all, I understand when you're trying to sell a bunch of ibuprofen and stuff like that, and you're just putting it out in CVS and just a big thing of, the zinc pills and stuff like that. I get that. But when people are trying to take something like a weight loss pill or something like that, and it has side effects, there could be side effects. It should be personalized. And HIMS is personalizing these compounded GLP-1 shots. That's legal. So, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not getting paid a lot of money to fight for Novo. I'm sure if I was a Novo shareholder, I could be trying to find ways. But I'm just looking at it from a legal standpoint, and I don't know if HIMS, they're going to have to prove that HIMS is doing the personalization illegally. Somehow. That's what it comes down to, right? If HIMS is doing the personalization illegally and not doing it to standard, then they can get in trouble. But if they're doing it by law, right, then why would they be in trouble? So, I don't know. I think they're going to be fine. That's just my 2 cents. So yeah, $100,000 challenge is not going well right now, but I do believe that things are kind of going down a little bit. Like I said, the stock market hasn't moved in the last few months, right? 144 days. So I'm just going to keep buying, keep believing, keep looking for good companies, and yeah. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate everyone that does watch. Please give a like and subscribe, comment what you're watching. I've had a few people send me ideas of the stocks that they're watching. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and never forget to earn it, save it, invest it, buy low, sell high. I want assets, not liabilities, and you can count on compounded interest.